everyone? Welcome to the Dr. Quack House Calls. I'm Dr. Quack, and today I have a special interview coming up here. I have an interview with the man who has been wrestling down in the Louisiana area. We're going to talk some independent wrestling. Ladies and gentlemen, let me bring him on, Logan Wade.
What's going on, everybody?
The business. Show that bat again.
That's it.
I like that. That is nice.
Old Faithful. She never lets me down.
Has that helped you out in the ring?
No comment.
No comment. That's a smart man. That's a man. He has learned so much. But for the viewers at home, thank you for coming on, by the way. But for the viewers at home, tell them about yourself here. I mean, I know you wrestled down in Louisiana.
Yep. Yeah, I've been in the business 3 years, going on 4. Was trained by Dapper Dan. He's pretty big in Texas, but he's traveled all over the world. He got his start with Global Wrestling out of Houston, I believe.
Yes,
and he got kicked off there. Got pretty turned on as a heel. He's traveled to Japan, Korea, Canada, Mexico. I think he's been everywhere but the UK. But he's been a hot commodity up until like the late 90s. He retired and he came back. And in 2021, he opened up a school, and I was the first one to knock on the door, man. I couldn't wait to be there. So,
okay. So what's it like working with Dapper Dan? I heard a lot of good things. You tell me in your own words.
So if you were to judge Dapper Dan just on his looks, you would think he was the meanest SOB in the world. You know, he's just got this smug frown, like, don't mess with me look about him. But honest to God, behind the scenes, nicest guy you'll ever meet. You know, he's really put forth an effort to give guys who may not have been given an opportunity, or was told that you have no talent, get out of here, or kids just come in and he's like, hey, so-and-so took my money in 3 weeks. He up and disappeared. Daps really changed that whole dynamic and try to give everybody at least a chance. You know, there's no hidden secret. Some people just aren't cut out for the wrestling business. But with the way he does things, the way he trains, you know, if you want it bad enough, you'll stick with it. If not, then you'll phase out. But he's all about giving everybody an equal opportunity versus taking your money, and which is, believe it or not, in Louisiana it's kind of a stigma. And I hate to put it out there, but it is. You know, you'll have these guys who are, oh, I was trained, I've done this, that, and the other, and open up a school and take all the money, and 3 weeks later, boom, they're gone. And that's why Louisiana wrestling really has a bad stigma. And I hate to say that, but that's just the God's honest truth.
It does happen like that sometimes. I mean, I've seen photos where you guys have drawn great houses. I'm talking like 500 plus.
Yeah, that's, believe it or not, and I'm not tooting our own horn, that's a pretty average haul for us. On a bad night, UWE brings in 250. I mean, on a bad night. Yeah,
I mean, there's not a lot of people in like places in the wrestling world where you're going to see that kind of crowd. I've noticed a lot of them. If you're drawing 100 to 150, it's like you're doing excellent, and you guys are pretty much doubling that and beyond.
You know, I give all that credit to Dapper Dan and the man who runs our locker room, James Beard. He's been instrumental for us. He's really gave us. He's put us on the path to success. Between him and Dap, and constant communication, and a lot of good guys that are talented. You know, you're not your trampoline jumping, landing on a microwave with wrapped in barbed wire kind of guys. These are actual guys who have a passion for wrestling and storytelling, and I really think that's why we're successful, is because we don't give them that imitation. We actually give them the show and entertainment that they want.
And that's a big positive. I mean, you have to be able to do that to draw the crowds you're drawing. But you've been in this business, I believe you said 3 years?
Yeah, 3 going on 4.
3 going on 4. That's definitely, that's quite a period of experience of time there. You're talking almost like, you're no longer the greenhorn. You're going towards that veteran side, you know, being the one in the ring that'll be able to start controlling matches. Has that happened for you?
Yeah, and actually, when I started coming back, so I had a year robbed of me, but I was still behind the scenes doing a lot of things. But my comeback has been strong, and yeah, that was one of the tasks put before me. Like, okay, this is the angle we want you to run, and by the way, you're the shot caller. So having to take on that role and experience that for myself and learn, you know, the do's and don'ts, which you get a lot of that worked out in your average going to train days. You know, we don't rehearse anything, but just going and getting a feel for it, you really learn that, you know, you learn how to call on the fly. You learn how to take control of the match.
Yeah, which do you like better? Which do you like better, calling on the fly or Shakespeare, where they script it out?
No, dude, Shakespeare. 9 times out of 10, Shakespeare goes wrong.
It does, and I you know, because you've always got to, you know, change for something. You got to learn to adapt to something that happened in a match, a blown spot, something. Yeah, you got to be able to cover some things sometimes.
I've seen a lot of guys who do the whole rehearsal. Like, they'll meet up like a week or two in advance and go over it just about every day. And then a spot gets blown in the match, they freeze. They're both stuck. You know, how embarrassing. We weren't trained that way, so I can't say I've ever experienced it, but I guess I could try to put myself in them shoes, and I would just be like, damn, you know, I got stuck. I looked stupid. Nobody wants to get booed out of the building that way.
Nobody does at all. By the way, for you viewers at home, this is Logan Wade. He is a professional wrestler down in Louisiana. If you have any questions, by all means, put them up here. I'm sure Logan would love to answer them.
Give them to me. I want them.
Okay, that sounds good to me. So tell me about what happened to you last year.
Yeah, so
you had kind of a stoppage in wrestling.
Yeah, well,
yeah.
Kind of a stoppage in life, man.
Yes.
June of 2022. I'd been having a lot of health complications for years, even before my wrestling training. I was just putting a lot of things off. You know, having that man mentality, like, you know, I'm just going to tough it out, you know, and eventually got to a point where I couldn't tough it out anymore. So went to the doctor, and a lot of test results came back not great. And June of 2022, I had a colonoscopy to do like some exploratory, and they found a tumor the size of a softball in my colon.
Oh, wow.
And they diagnosed me with stage 4 colon cancer. They removed 10 inches of my colon, and when they went back in, they found that my liver was completely covered in lesions. So woke up early during the colonoscopy. They couldn't even get the camera like around the tumor. It was so big. And they woke me up and said, "Hey, we're doing emergency surgery. You have cancer." So you just being woken up from that haze, you know, you're like, what? Wait a minute. And I look over, my wife's just, they had already told her. She couldn't keep it together for me. And I don't blame her. I'd be right there with her. So anyway, yeah, that was just traumatizing. So had the surgery, came home, a few weeks later, started chemotherapy, and it wasn't light. It wasn't light at all. The only advantage that I had on my side was my youth. You know, I'm only 31 years old.
Yeah, you don't expect that, do you?
No. They actually don't even start screening until you're 50. So for me to be 31 years old, thank you, Sarge. It's been a pleasure, and I don't look forward to stopping anytime soon. But so anyway, the doctors initially were like, "Look, we don't want to put a timestamp on it because anything can happen, you know.
Right. Those things are kind of hard to diagnose.
They really are. Well, they're very difficult to predict past a certain stage. Like,
right.
You know, you could have stage 4 and live another 50 years, or you can do stage 4 and start going down really fast.
How was your mindset during this? I mean, did you think, yeah, I'm going to beat this, I'm going to be able to get through this? I mean, how was it for you?
So I'll be completely honest. In the beginning, I really didn't know how to feel. You know, I was just constantly thinking about my wife and kids. I have 5 kids. My youngest is 8. Excuse me, I think he just turned 9. I have 5. But you just thinking and having that thought in the back of my head, like, you know, am I going to survive this? You know, am I going to have to leave my wife and kids alone? And, you know, just having those thoughts, not being able to see my kids graduate and have kids of their own, you know, just there's a lot of factors that was running into my mind. But one of my surgeons, I went back for like a checkup, and, you know, I'm not going to lie to you, I busted out in tears. Just, it finally sunk in, you know, like, okay, we're having to go through this. And he put his hand on my shoulder and he's like, look, if you want to beat this, you'll beat it. And I was just like, what? You know, and that he said some other things and he left, and got in the car, and that just kind of stuck with me. I was like, you know what? If I want to beat this, if I want to see my kids grow up, I'm going to make it happen. So I got in there. We done 13 rounds of probably the harshest chemo known to man.
Wow. That's a lot of chemo treatments.
Yeah, and it was every 2 weeks, and they told me they was giving me basically the strongest that they could because I was young and I could take it. Now, if I was somebody in my late 60s, 70s, you know, they really wouldn't give me much hope. But they were like, look, we have a window. We need to get through the window. And I'm not gonna lie to you, that was the hardest probably 7-8 months of my life. You know, that was
I can imagine.
I literally experienced everything that they say. The fatigue, the nausea, the body aches, you know. I had every symptom under the sun, and most people don't even, the worst they have is nausea. No, I had it all. My skin was, this may be too much, but my skin was falling off. Like the skin on my tongue would peel off. It was just crazy stuff, right? But your body's trying to adapt to everything that's being pumped into it, and it just reacts that way. But after 13 rounds, I went into remission, and I've recently, not recently, a few months ago, I fell out of remission due to insurance reasons. Let's just say that I have a personal opinion. I think they'd rather see cancer patients die than actually help them because it costs money. But
yeah, I see that a lot. It's all about that HMO and PPOs and everything else.
No, they definitely do not want to help. So after fighting with them and getting approved to start like a small, what they called then a maintenance regimen, my blood test came back and I was no longer in remission. However, since then I am back. So I feel better. I feel strong. I've lost about 85 pounds. In the beginning of all this, I was knocking on 400 pounds, and I'm down to 308.
That's great.
Yeah, man.
I mean, to be able to cut that much weight, do you sleep better now?
I'll be honest, I always slept good. I'm a very hard sleeper, man, but it's just, if I want to sleep, I can sleep. I feel like I could sleep anywhere.
That's a good thing. I mean, a lot of people have that issue, but you know, outside of that, now you've been doing it 3 years. Have you experienced like any major injuries, or has it affected you at all in 3 years besides the cancer?
You mean like routine wrestling injuries? Yeah.
Yeah.
I've probably the worst I had. I dislocated my AC joint in my shoulder.
Ooh.
And it was one of those things like, like when I went through the academy, I went in there with a bunch of guys who were way thinner than I was. And they were doing all these hurricanranas and Frankensteiners and kind of went in like on a dare. They were like, we're going to do this, that, and I said, well, I can do that. What do you mean you can do that? I can do a hurricanrana. And I did it. I did it successfully. I'll send you the video, actually. I did it on
I kind of want to see that, yeah.
Yeah, I did it on a good friend of ours, Rick Wildley.
Ah.
He let me be he was man enough to step in there, and I did it great the first time. It was just a one and done, boom. Well, one of the other guys was like, well, I want you to do it on me. And he's about 6'4", 6'5". He's a big guy.
Right, he's about your height, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
But he's skinny as a beanpole. And I guess in the amazement and shock that I was up that high and had my legs around him, instead of flipping for me, he froze and stiffened up.
Oh,
that caused my upper body to hit the mat so hard, and I landed on my shoulder. I popped the AC joint out of my shoulder. It was sitting on top of my collarbone.
Oh man.
Yeah, it sucked. I ain't gonna lie to you. I walked around a week with that, and then they popped it back in for me. But that's probably the worst injury that I've had, other than just routine bumps and bruises,
Okay. Well, I mean, definitely. Now, you look at the independence. You've been around this for 3 years. You've mainly focused, I guess, a lot around Louisiana. Have you went outside of the state?
Well, yeah, we've. So I've just recently, I was getting into the part where I was fixing to start traveling, going to other promotions and stuff, but the whole cancer thing happened and just put the brakes on everything.
Right.
But while I was with UWE, I was able to go to Texas a lot, all over Louisiana. I've just recently, since coming back, I've been to Arkansas, and I'm going back October 21st for Classic Championship Wrestling.
Okay.
I'll be in their main event, going for #1 contendership for the heavyweight title. I'll be facing Kurt Castle.
Ah, okay.
Yeah, so I'm excited about that, but eventually I would like to venture eastward. A lot of guys go to Texas, Oklahoma, and that's cool. I have nothing wrong with the Midwest scene at all. I just find there's a lot more challenges going east. Getting into the Memphis territory, the Carolinas. I have family in South Carolina. I would love to get over there and wrestle with them, spend time with them, and the East Coast scene just, to me, appeals a little bit more. So that's kind of where I want to go.
Yeah, I will tell you from my experience that every part of the world you go, like if you're wrestling towards the Southwest and you're wrestling over on the East Coast and the Southeast, it's all different styles everywhere.
Right.
Things get changed up, but yeah, it's definitely a good experience to go out there and travel. Definitely something you want to do. But
I'm definitely looking forward to it.
So let me ask you, who was your favorite opponent you've had?
Ooh, honestly, Dapper Dan.
Dapper Dan?
Dapper Dan, man. That was probably the, I'm not gonna say easiest, but as far as working wise, easiest match I've ever had. And then I get to wrestle my mentor. Mm-hmm. So that was great. Me and him, we had a great back and forth. It's probably my favorite. Worst would probably be I had to wrestle a kid in Marshall, Texas, and long story short, he about broke my neck, so that wasn't great.
Ooh.
Yeah, it's one of those guys. He's used to choreographing, and he went for a German, but he didn't call a German. He just grabbed me and
did it.
Yeah, so I didn't have no time to pump or And when I went over, I was not over smooth. Landed on top of my head, wound up with a concussion. It was a big deal.
Now I'm sure because you're what 6'4", 6'5"?
I'm 6'4", yeah.
6'4", and you probably see a lot of guys on the independent scene that are around that 5'10" to 6 foot mark.
Yeah.
What is it like working a younger and a smaller person? Because you probably see a lot of those.
So it's very different than my biggest complaint is they're just wide open. They don't know how to pace a match. They just want to run. You can't do that. You know, you got to make sense. 100 miles an hour never made sense. And so what I find challenging is having to get those guys in a situation where I can communicate, look, slow down. We're doing this. Mm-hmm. Start calling some things, and then just to watch them think, okay, and watch them calculate in their mind during the match, I need to slow down, For me, that's a little rewarding because I'm kind of giving back to that, you know. But as far as my biggest gripe on that, that's really my biggest gripe. And then egos, you know, there's a lot of disrespect in a lot of places, man. They just want to, we're going to do this my way, this, that, and the other. And you're talking to a vet who's been doing it 10 plus years.
Right.
You know, I've seen kids get slapped down for that. You know, you don't do that. You don't go tell a man who's been working 10 plus years, you're not going to do this, but we're going to do this. No, it's his show, whether you like it or not. You know, that's right. I don't understand that mentality, man. It's just, and then locker room etiquette. A lot of them, you can tell, just were not trained properly.
Yeah.
You know? And then not shaking people's hands. I don't know what it is. Are you just too good to come shake my hand? Are you too good to go shake the man who's going to pay you at the end of the night hand?
I've heard a lot of that recently. I've talked to a few people who have done shows that, yeah, people don't want to shake hands, and you know, it's a big issue. It's about respect. You know, you don't have to do a 2-finger shake like they did back in the day, real light. But you know, hey, good match. Thank you for the match. You know, those things like that matter.
Absolutely, those things matter, and those things. I've noticed a lot of times guys who do that are more likely to get booked again because that promoter and whoever's running that locker room is watching. Like, that kid's been trained. He's coming back. You know, people they look at that, and these kids they don't think about that. They just want to. I'm going to be the next superstar. Well, no, you're not. You're wrestling for $25 and a hot dog, and some parking lot that nobody goes to.
Right.
You know, don't be that guy. If you're in that situation, play the veteran role. You may not be in the business a year, but the guy who trained you better, so do better. Do as he would do. Make him proud. And just as long as they have that mentality, they'll succeed. But a lot of them are just looking out for themselves, and it's just a dangerous business.
It is, because, you know, people get a lot of jealousy about anything there. You know, popularity, good with the booker, money, all that. Yeah.
Yeah, man.
But, so I want to ask you, like, let's say 5 years from now, where do you want to be in this wrestling business?
Well.
Oh, boy, hold on. Sometimes you don't get a hot dog.
Sometimes you don't get a hot dog, man. You don't. I'll tell you a funny story real quick before I get into that. Dapper Dan told me a situation years ago that happened to him when he was tag teaming with his partner. They were the tag team called Desperados, and that was with Ricky Gonzalez, who is Raquel Gonzalez's father.
Right.
Anyway, they were at a show. They had a great crowd. Booker says, I'm going to have to pay you later. But Dap was like, no, we agreed getting paid tonight. Well, guy was like, well, they brought in a big name. And he's like, I had to pay him a little extra for something that he done. I don't have money to pay y'all. And Dap at this time had been in the business for a little while, a good while. And he said, okay. So Dap pulled his car to the front of the venue, popped the trunk, and went to loading up speakers. the booker was like, "Hey, what are you doing?" He said, "What? You can't pay me? That's probably worth my pay." Slammed the trunk. Booker was like, "Look, give me back my stuff. Give me my stuff." He said, "Cash or the speakers, one or the other." Dude went to the ATM. Long story short, had the money the whole time. Just he didn't want to. He's just trying to screw over somebody. But I forget where I was going with that. But anyway, that just popped up and was really
funny. There's a lot of shady promoters out there. Yeah. I mean, a lot of times when you're working a show as a promoter, you want to make sure that money's already in the envelope before the gate comes through.
And that's just rule of thumb, man. You don't work for free. And I mean, if you do, it's better be for a good reason.
Yeah, I got another question here. I got somebody else here. Somebody you know.
Uh-oh. Have you dealt with another wrestler having too big of an ego?
In your experience, have you dealt with another wrestler having too big of an ego during a match? Do you deal with it afterward or fix the issue, but with discretion? From Tin Man.
So to answer that question, yes, I have. And the answer to the second one is both. There's this little thing called a receipt. And, it comes in all shapes and forms. I definitely have been in the ring with some ego guys. You just got to know what you're doing. Bring them back down to earth a bit. If they don't come back to earth, then that chat in the locker room is not going to be too pleasant. I'll put it that way.
Oh no!
And believe me, you're not the only one that's watching that. There's the other guys in the back are like, "What is he doing? Oh, he's going to get it," and they expect it. They're not going to get in your way about it.
What we got here? Got another comment here. Fix it, but do it in a way the fans don't see it. Never do it around the fans.
Yeah, no, never, no. And like I said, if you got to do something you got to do something in the ring. Do it in a way that to them it looks like just a big move. You may have to chop a guy's heart out. If that's what you got to do to the fans, you're gonna get a pop. Oh my God, did you see that? To that other guy that just got that chop, like, mother freaker, why did I do that? So there's ways, man. You just got to know what you're doing. But yes, answer your question, yes.
Okay. Well, here let's go into the WWE because I'm curious. The big scene, things you see and what you see on television. How did you feel about the Endeavor buying out WWE and Vince McMahon no longer being involved in this?
Well, I have mixed emotions about it. And I do want to come back to your question about the 5-year things.
Yeah.
So WWE has been they've kind of been on a roller coaster, man. And I don't watch it a whole lot because there's a lot that bothers me. But when I do watch it, and I of course we all read the Facebook tabloids and things like that. And that's really where I get a lot of my information from. But in Endeavor is smart for taking over. It is a wise investment. I'm not going to knock Endeavor, not one bit. Vince, on the other hand, if he was looking for a way out, I think he should have done better. That's to me, he didn't protect the product. He didn't protect the business. Endeavor. Granted, I know there's a whole writer situation that Vince kind of lets do whatever they want to do, but you're bringing in a company that has no wrestling knowledge, and now they're going to run the company how they see fit. Well, from a fan's perspective, you can't help but be worried. Like, okay, let's see who's big right now. Is Gunther going to be considered a jobber now? That can't help but run through your mind. One thing that bothered me, Matt Riddle got fired right off the bat, and it was purely because Dana White had issues with him.
Yep.
That wasn't because he was doing bad in business. Yes, he has a little bit of a weed problem. Yes, he went to rehab. He done his time.
Right.
So why aren't you punishing him just because you don't like him? That's not how wrestling business is done. I may not like you, but if we're told to go work together, guess what? We're going to work.
We're going to figure it out.
We're going to work. And then at the end of the night, we'll shake hands, go in the parking lot, eat a hot dog, go our separate ways.
Yeah, sometimes that happens, man. That's what you hope for, anyways. But yeah, I mean, 5 years. If you had your choice, I mean, would you go with WWE or would you go with AEW or what would you do? There's plenty of places to work nowadays.
It is. And, you know, I'm a big believer in baby steps. And realistically, time's not on my side. However, I think if I were to reach for the next biggest goal for Logan Wade, I would like to see myself in NWA. You know, there's a huge plethora of legends and big names that has been with that company, and to be amongst that would just be amazing. From there, if I had the opportunity and time was still on my side, I'm not sure if I would go AEW or WWE. Out of the two, probably WWE. Okay. Just AEW is like the wild, wild west, man. Like, you really don't know what you're going to get over there. And that, business-wise, for me, that doesn't make sense. You know, I want to go somewhere where, you know, I may not be being used, but I'm taken care of. You know, and I'm not saying they don't take care of their people, but, you know, if I piss off Kenny Omega and I'm not on a show for, you know, a year, twiddling my thumbs, that's not okay with me. At least if you're in WWE, they want you to go on a hiatus. You can go do signings. You can do this, that, and the other. And they take care of you. But they both have their demons, man. I really don't know.
Yeah, that's a tough question. It really is. I mean,
it is.
They both got their pluses and minuses from what I understand. But, I mean, even last night they had NXT on, and you had AEW out there on Tuesday Night Wars here.
Yeah.
Here's my question, because both of these guys, like, there you go, NXT had Cody Rhodes, The Undertaker, John Cena, so many others, right? Yeah. AEW had Edge, right? His whole debut, they were trying to shock that. Neither one of these promotions got to 1 million views. Do you find that disturbing? Do you find that to be an issue?
Man, an issue, yes. But if you want to look at it, that means that both sides are watching. You know, if neither one of them got to 1 million, then there's still competition there.
Yeah, that's what we're answering right here, Justin. Pretty much the Tuesday night. Yeah,
so I mean, NXT won, but I'm gonna be honest with you, that was because of Taker. That's the only reason. I didn't watch AEW. I did watch the NXT. Wasn't that excited about it. You know, AEW, I feel like they missed the ball. If they were going to shock the Edge coming back, then they should have not brought him out at the pay-per-view. Maybe teased it, but not brought him out. I think that's where they dropped the ball. They tease it and then bring it back. They may have won or tied this Tuesday Night War.
Right. They slightly won, I think, by 100,000. I think they had 959, somewhere in that area. And AEW dropped down to the low 800,000s.
Correct. Yeah, I think that's what I saw.
Yeah, it was somewhere in that area. I don't have the exact numbers in front of me, but yeah, I mean, it's just shocking because, I mean, professional wrestling, I mean, for me, when I was in this, you know, started, I was in the Edge of the Attitude Era where you would see the Nielsen ratings. They would show 6-7 million viewers each show, whether it was WWF or WCW or ECW. A lot of people were tuning in. It was hot at that time. What do you think can bring it back to those numbers there? What do you think could be done?
So I'm going to answer that question with making a statement. I think if they got rid of all the drama, I think that would bring back people. People are tired of the whole tabloid thing, like so-and-so's fired this week, so-and-so done this, so-and-so has a problem with this guy and backstage. You know, they're ruining the kayfabe part of it. A lot of it is supposed to be a mystery, and both sides are dropping the ball. Both sides are leaving nothing to surprise, and fans are picking up on it, and they're just not interested in it. You know, and I don't blame them. I wouldn't want to watch a product where I knew what was going to happen.
Right. I mean, the internet, they say, has kind of ruined everything, but it's helped everything at the same time.
And yes, and it is a double-edged sword, but there's a way to play that, man. There's a way to do it, and they're too busy competing with each other to wake up and smell the money.
Yeah, you're exactly right. But I got a few quick fire questions here before we get out of here. First off, do you have any advice for anybody trying to enter the wrestling business?
Yeah, man. It's not what you think. Come in open-minded. You know, if you're not ready to be bruised and abused and I'm going to say taken advantage of, because you're not really being taken advantage of, but you are a crash dummy. So bring yourself to the realization that, look, this isn't in your backyard. This isn't TV. This is real life. Do yourself a favor. Get a gym membership. Start prepping yourself. And if you want to get in the business, there's opportunity. But be smart. Don't go with just some Joe Blow with a name. Do some research. Research what school you're going to. Research that school's trainers. You know, yeah, just be smart, and the rewards will come after.
Definitely on that. I can't disagree. Since it's near Halloween, what's your favorite scary movie?
Oh, man, I'll be honest. I'm not a big fan of horror. If I had to pick Michael Myers, I do like that whole concept.
Is there anyone that scares you?
Man, they all freaking tear me up, dude. I've just never been able to handle suspense like that, because I will, and I'll give you a good reason. A lot of the times, all the monsters are coming out when you're freaking asleep, right? Mm-hmm. Well, one of my biggest fears is home invasion while I'm asleep.
Oh boy!
You know, I'm a very prepared person. I like to have a plan A and a plan B and so forth and so on. And just that whole, like, not knowing what's out there, it really bothers me. So, but I can tolerate Michael Myers. He's got a pretty cool gimmick, I guess.
Well, I got one more question here for you.
Yeah, sure.
What is it going to take for Logan Wade to get the balls to do a top rope frog splash? I know you're afraid of heights, but it's only 4 feet.
Well, Logan Wade is not afraid of heights. Logan Wade was taught to work smart as a big man. But Logan Wade can do top rope anything. I have recently been practicing because I've lost a lot of weight. I'm a lot more limber. And yeah, I've been doing a lot of practice and getting myself there. Used to, it would hurt my knees like bad. Now it's not nearly as bad, and I can take it.
That's a good thing. Definitely. Yeah. I mean, with 80 pounds off of you, that helps out a lot.
Oh man, you have no idea. It's literally like a weight lifted off of you, and that's what it is.
Definitely. Well, I want to give you the floor here. Tell us where we can find you next.
So Logan Wade, you can always follow me on my Logan Wade Facebook page. I post a lot of crazy stuff, so just come prepared for that. I will be at almost any United Wrestling Entertainment show here located in Louisiana, Central Louisiana, Pineville, Louisiana. I'm also joined the UWE Pro Wrestling Academy. I am one of the trainers there. I help with fundamental. Dapper Dan gets you ring ready. I just kind of help also get you there. My next match will be October 21st in Fort Smith, Arkansas for Classic Championship Wrestling. And tickets are going to be hot, man. So if y'all want it, if you're in the area, come holler at me. I'll be happy to greet you and give you the business.
Well, thank you for coming on, Logan. I definitely appreciate it. Definitely have learned a lot about the Louisiana area. I'm Dr. Quack, and our next show, We are going to be out on Friday. We will be having Justin Smith come on. We are going to be talking about some promo world and talking about professional wrestling over in Europe. Till then, I'll see you next time.